The use of the concept of God's grace, by God's blessings, etc. When someone claims their success or achievement or great performance in a domain of human activities, can be potentially confusing and inducing unconscious doubts in the mind of the audience or those who hear some great performers make that statement. I have seen currently televised competitions of music or dance. Finally, the winner says to a large audience that it's by the blessing of certain deity or God's grace they reached the so-called first place. The problem is that even the other participants of that competition, at least, even they too might have prayed a lot, tried for so-called God's blessings and grace, definitely during the days of participation in the competition and so on and so forth. So I used to wonder what those participants would be thinking, either consciously or unconsciously, whether their gods or deities did not bless them properly, point number one. Point number two, whether their offerings or their dedications or their commitments or their prayers or their devotion was not up to the expected mark, in which case what is that expected level, and so on and so forth. In other words, some celebrities' declaration of God's grace as a reason for their success can induce indirect doubt in the massive population. As a researcher, I feel that it is a person's inherent weakness and several episodes of lack of confidence in self and other defeats robbed them of the real confidence in self, trust in and faith in oneself. So they attribute a reason beyond normal for their success. It could also be due to their playing gentle. I am not the one, it is by God's grace. And a few other reasons also. In fact, in my history of training people, as a researcher, I have personally realized that many times when some of my trainees reach extraordinary performance and achievements in life or work or relationships, they openly claim to their colleagues and social network or even directly to me that it is by their God's grace. For example, in one incident, I really inspired and trained a very gentle, meek housewife to take up a course in B.Ed, in teaching. Again, continuously inspired her to come out of the boundaries of their house and other cultural training. And she took up the job of a teacher, and within about 10 years or so, she became so competent and so popular that she even won 2-3 national awards. But in public functions, she openly declared that it was by the grace of the God. And in some of the interviews, she even mentioned inspiration by husband and so on and so forth. But she never mentioned, for example, my name. Even in one of my communications with her over internet or email, she replied back that it was by the grace of God. Perfectly all right. The point I wanted to point out is that these highly successful people, even when they accept the presence or blessings of God, they should also point out or briefly narrate the history of their real hard work or the guidance of some teachers or gurus or mystics. That is very important.